Hi, welcome to Warrior Commission Now, where we talk about practical ways to live out your commission in the Lord. I'm Christine Caston, and this is Sharon
Rudolph.
Sharon and I are continuing to explore conversations, and as you may have noticed, we do have warrior in our name. The Warrior Commission is our name, and that whole warrior piece has been a really interesting journey for my life and what it is to be a warrior. What is a warrior really? And then all the perceptions out there of spiritual warrior, which aren't always positive. Some of them are a little bit like, oh, yeah, I don't know about that, And I think so much of that has been because a lot of people have taken the idea of spiritual warrior into this militant storm the gates without any thought. And so we are very aware that the battle is on. And that's really what our topic is about, is the battle is on. But in that, we want to really kind of explore what it is to be a warrior when the battle is on, and maybe shift some paradigms, some ways of thinking about what a warrior is and can be.
Right.
Maybe redefine what maybe someone might have as their definition of a warrior. So, Sharon, we live in the clash between two kingdoms.
Yes.
And so let's talk about that spiritual warfare that's all around us and kind of our part in the battle.
Well, I think a lot of people, you have sort of, from my history, you have two camps. You have the people who are everything spiritual warfare, and then you have the people, no, that's not a thing, And so, and we live in this place where, as a warrior, it's about knowing who you're in the battle with. We've done another talk on vacation with God, and it really is talking about in God and living life in God. And as a warrior, that our journey is going from you're a soldier working for God to being in God and the partnership with him, and being able to know he is the guy who's in charge of the battle, right? We read the book and we know how it ends. He knows how, the Bible, and we know how the story ends, and he knows how to win the battle. So it makes sense to spend time with the guy who knows how to win the battle, because we are in a battle. The spirit realm is real, just like Holy Spirit's real. And we have to learn how to fight the way God knows it's best for us to fight. Mm-hmm. So, Christine, in your journey, how's the Lord taught you to participate in the battle with him?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because it's about our training and it's about our development. The spiritual battle isn't about our ability to take the enemy for God. He's fully capable of doing that without the angels. It's just, okay, it's time, you're done,
Right.
And so it's not that, it's not so much about the battle itself and what we're doing to bring God victory. It's actually what it is to be in relationship with God and the training and development that happens in that place. So in quote, hand-to-hand combat, it's a much more personal type of battle. It's learning how to master the tools, the weapons, if you will, that God has given us in those moments when the battle is in our face. And then there are other times when we might be like archers, right? So we're back from the battle. We can see it from a different perspective, and we're shooting into the battle to help defeat the foe with what God is training us in that place. So a lot of times that's a prayer kind of stance. It's learning how to pray. It's learning how to aim and focus and distill our words so that they are those sharp arrows that can go into that target that is right there that God's pointing to. And then there's also just the understanding that sometimes our position in the battle is to actually observe and see what God's doing and how he's moving and how the angels are fighting. around us, and how God is moving for us on our behalf for our growth and development. So those are different ways to do it. And what I found is we honor all positions in the battle, no matter what position we're in or not. We honor all positions in the battle because we understand the value of the training. But what we've found is that sometimes people take the idea of the battle is on as their own mantra almost. And of their own free will, they're going to win this battle, kind of take the ground by themselves. So Sharon, would you talk a little bit about your experience of what it's like to be in a place where the battle is on, and how God has positioned you in your development and growth, and your perspective of that battle?
Well, historically, I've been part of inner healing, and the battle is definitely on when you're involved in inner healing. And the Lord has been teaching me on my journey that so much of the partnership with Him isn't about having the right formula or knowing the right prayer or using the right system. Mm-hmm. It's so fun to have a full tool belt with lots of different options. But the best way to win the battle is to be able to say, okay, Papa, what's important to you? Mm-hmm. How do you want this battle fought? Mm-hmm. Right? Sometimes I need to not engage at all. I just need to intercede. I just need to ask and pray. But other times the Lord wants me in the middle of things, and He wants my voice heard out loud. So it's that partnership with God and learning how to be God's friend. Mm-hmm. Right? It's learning how to be patient in the battle. In our conversation before hitting record, we were talking about the Daniel situation, right? And the angel shows up and says, yeah, it took me 2 weeks to get here. And sometimes we've been praying for something and we're not seeing it, or something's happening in the world out there that distresses us. And we're like, where's God in the middle of that, right? He is in the middle of that. He's probably fighting more than we even understand. Right. And it's, God, how can I support you and how you're fighting in whatever this event is, whether our friend is in the hospital or whether we have a family member that's having to go to war, right? It is about partnering with Him and being patient with what He knows is the best outcome. Right. And I think that's a real challenge to our faith. Am I willing to trust God that He will work this out for good? Yeah. And I know it's always fun to sit with God and wait and be patient, and in the partnering to be able to see His outcome, to be able to see what He wants to bring to pass, whether it's in your own life or whether it's in world events.
Yeah, one of the biggest experiences and training grounds that I had was actually through a prayer intercession group. And we were praying for some people that were in a life-threatening situation. And we were, fervently praying, and it touched God's heart. And in the process, the people who were basically about to be killed, I mean, they were in the hands of the enemy, so to speak. Wow. About to be killed, they were suddenly released for no apparent reason. Oh, never mind, we got the wrong people, is basically what they were told. And they were released. Well, of course, we didn't know about all that as we were praying for them. We're just in there praying. And we got to this point where, as we were praying and pressing in, I felt like the Lord said, okay, it's done. And of course, I had no way of knowing it was done. I just heard that. So I lifted my head up, and I was still fairly new to all this stuff, right? I was fairly new to all this prayer stuff. And I didn't really necessarily know what how it all worked, if you will. And so I was looking to the people who were, more experienced in it. And I saw that they were just continuing to press in and pray and press in and pray. And we've got to make this happen. And I realized that in the process of that, and through my conversations with the Lord later, was Lord, help me understand that, you touched my heart and said, we don't have to pray anymore. And yet the whole room was continuing to press in. And he said that sometimes we get so caught up in the emotion of how we're going to make something happen that we actually lose the ability to receive his "it is finished." And we spend a lot of energy towards something that's already been granted. And so in that place, I was learning, what is it to be sensitive to the Lord in my prayer process, in my moments of the battle is on, what is it that is going to attune me to his words and his leading and his prompting, and even more than that, how can I pray what he's already praying? And we did find out later that at that moment in time, those people were released. And
Wow.
and so it we were able to confirm the timing of it, as well.
Yes.
So there was something in that space, and it wasn't a, oh, those people don't know what they're doing kind of thing. We're all on a journey and we're all learning, right?
Right.
But it taught me that I needed to be careful not to get caught up in the emotion of my sheer force of will,
Right.
being pushed, kind of that storming the gates idea, being pushed into the circumstance, if that wasn't where God was. And so learning to fight the battle with him became a place that didn't require as much energy as it used to, partly because sometimes he's just like, I've got this.
Right.
It's okay. I've got this. I hear what you're saying. I've got this. And other times it was because in that training process, there was a life-giving experience with the Lord, or a life-giving revelation with the Lord that actually made me step into a place, or opened a place for me to step into, maybe I should say it that way, where I found that my prayers became more powerful. The battle being waged around me became less capable of hurting me. And the strength that I had to stand in the place in him, in that place of partnership with him, actually created a different pacing and a different empowering in those places. And I really started seeing, I shifted from seeing, God, what can I make you do? Because that was kind of the mentality I had. God, what can I make you do? Into, God, how can I do what you're doing? How can I say what you're saying? And it was such a radical shift and such a freeing place. I wasn't tired. I wasn't exhausted anymore.
Right. Oh, I love that story. I love that story. And I think we carry way too much on our shoulders sometimes, and we don't let the Lord be who he is for us, especially when we realize there is a battle going on, and we realize that the stakes are high.
Mm-hmm. The stakes are people's hearts, really, and that's a high price.
Yes. I mean, you guys, the stakes were high. Mm-hmm. It was the loss of life, mm-hmm. right? And so, and I love how God stepped in. I love how he allows us to partner with him. He allows us to be a part of it. And there is something about us joining forces with him. We have to be willing to own that there is a battle, and we have to be willing to join forces with him as he directs. Mm-hmm. And there's not, and it's never a waste of effort.
Right.
It's not a waste of effort.
In that moment, I did learn a lot, but it's still a journey. I mean, I'm still on the journey.
Yes.
To walk that out and to remain in that place of sensitivity to him, because it's not, like we talked about, you're going to be positioned in different places, and that's a different, there's a different skill, there's a different receptivity to the Lord. There's a different understanding of what he's doing in that place. And so,
Right.
so, it's not like any of us have arrived and we've got it figured out because God likes
Right.
to teach things on us. Not
Oh,
because
yes.
he's trying to be, he's not playing games with us. It's for the strengthening of who we are in him. And so that journey is ongoing.
Right.
Very much so.
Right. And I love in the Warrior Commission, intercession is huge, and our intel is very impactful. And we have had we do prophetic intercession, we do prophetic intel. Our people pray and ask God, what's important about this? We do craft prayers, impact prayers, and we share them. And we have heard wonderful reports of the impact of the intercession, because we have chosen to take the time to align with God in what that is and what he wants to see happen. Oftentimes we don't even understand what the battle is. We just know what's going on. And it is so beautifully helpful to be able to go, okay, Papa, what's going on? And he'll let us know so that we can partner with him. So, do you have anything you want to add to that with TWC and our amazing intercession?
Yeah, I could add a lot because there's so much out there with things that we've discovered and that we've learned in the process. Really what I guess the irony is we started off as a community that was more focused on prayer, but what we found is that for our prayers to actually have an impact is that we had to learn what it was to be who we are in Christ. And so we realized that the intimacy and the identity of who we are in Christ had to be understood, had to be activated in us, had to be in a place where we lived it out, so that the prayers that came about through that understanding actually became more powerful and became more impactful and more targeted. So it was kind of this really interesting process of we trained on the ground of intercession, which was kind of the first question: what would happen if warriors trained on the ground of intercession? And as we trained on the ground of intercession, we discovered that to really be able to step into a place of intercession that has the ability to be targeted and to take the ground and the territory, not just for ourselves, but for others as well, as we partner with others in that process. There is something that happens in us rising up as sons and daughters of God and into that place of maturity and into that place of being unshakable and being in a place of loving greatly, loving unconditionally with the Lord, that it takes a warrior mindset to love greatly. And yes. So the whole process and the whole journey of who we've become and what our training is our training is not geared to create. It's not geared for the outcome, right? It's not geared to create really powerful prayers, but the result, the symptom of the process of journeying with God is that we found that our prayers do make an impact. So it's been an incredible journey with the Lord to understand that and to be in that place of submission to Him in our lives and passion being flamed in us to see what He does through that place.
Yes. And I think we may have people listening who would love for their prayer time to have more impact. Yeah. And they would love to understand better how to be a part of the battle and partner with God. And that's what we do in the Warrior Commission. And it is worth the time and energy to explore how to deepen your intimacy with God, how to explore your identity and how God created you to stand in the battle. Mm-hmm. So please check out the Warrior Commission and see if maybe we could help you on your journey of standing in this battle, because it's there and it's real.
The battle is on.
The battle is on. So thank you for joining us today.
Bye. You guys have a great day.